He was mine the minute my husband placed him in my lap. Only 9 weeks old, this calm, sweet little soul, all fluff and purr and quiet knowing. I could feel it right away. We belonged to each other. From the very start, we just knew how to coexist, how to commingle and move through the world together, softly, sweetly, and side by side.
Kitty, what are you doing? Did you get into the bags? Kitty, what did you do? What are you doing, Kitty? Kitty. Oh my goodness, what are you doing, Kitty?
Fairly early on, Ollie developed a lame leg, and the vets were baffled by it. And as time went on, it got worse. Nonetheless, mornings began with him jumping up on the bed, nudging me awake with licks and furry cuddles. Lounging around on the bed, especially when the dogs would join us, were some of the most precious moments together. He'd find or follow me everywhere, strolling back and forth between my legs, his tail brushing me like a little reminder, I'm here with you, you're mine. I'd catch hold of that tail sometimes, run my fingers along its length, around that funny little kink at the top, his perfect imperfection. And oh, the way we'd look at each other from across the room, that slow blink, a soft closing of eyes, that said everything words could not. I see you, I trust you, I love you. Night times he would find me on the couch, made a slow circle, then tucked himself right by my side, his warmth pressed into me, a heartbeat beside my own. Or I'd find him having a cat nap with Isla. When we came back from our Pacific Northwest adventures, being gone a week, we noticed Ollie was skipping meals and he felt very skinny. We had just celebrated 4 years of having Ollie be a part of our family. And we started to wonder what was happening. Why was he not eating? Why did he feel thinner? And we decided to take him in to see the vet. Right away, she noticed his heartbeat seemed exceptionally fast, so she did a little bit of a blood workup. And a week ago from today, the day I'm making this video, he started to bleed from his chest, where they inserted a needle to draw the blood. And they decided he had some kind of rare disease that none of them had really heard of. And they could see he had some autoimmune response happening and a lot of things that they needed to do more tests for. In the meanwhile, he just wouldn't eat. They sent me home with some special food which I made into a paste, and I dabbed it onto his little top of his paws, and that was the only way I could get him to eat, was just to lick off my finger and to lick off of his paws. And so this is him a week ago, and he still had energy, but he hadn't really had much to eat in days, honestly, except for these little licks off of his paws and off my finger, but really nothing solid. And it was very, very disturbing and very, very stressful. They gave him a shot of prednisone and they sent us home with a bag full of medicine. They wanted us to give him 3 pills a day, twice a day, which were more steroids, antibiotics, and also medicine to help stop the bleeding. And they wanted us to do this using a device that we would load the pills into and kind of ram down the back of his throat, which was super traumatic. We did it one time and I absolutely refused to do that. He was getting so weak, and it was traumatizing for both him and me, and it was changing his trust towards me, and there was no way I could do it. A week ago from today, they did one more blood draw so that they could see if the prednisone shot they gave him and the meds they gave him made any difference toward his platelets and his white and red blood cell count, and we were to come back 2 days later for a result. I don't know if you remember seeing this picture earlier, but this neighborhood kitty started coming and hanging around in our backyard, almost as if to offer comfort and support. I started setting up little stations around the house, places where Ollie would go, like in the closet or by the window or wherever. And I'd have little cups of water and little morsels on a plate, just so that he might smell the food and lick it. And sometimes in the beginning of this, I was successful, but not for long. He would take a few licks and then lose interest. He got weaker and weaker and went downhill rapidly and spent more and more time sleeping or curled up in the closet. The dogs would come in to check on him. Did you guys come to see Kitty? Okay, go see Kitty. Kitty's in the closet right there. I found a commercial-free channel on YouTube that played soothing and relaxing music, healing music for cats. So I just had that on softly in the background. Isla, you want to go see Kitty? Several times I thought he had died, and then I'd look up and he'd sit up and drink water. Oh my gosh, Kitty just started drinking water.
still, my soul, the Lord is on your side. Bear patiently the cross of grief or pain. Leave to your God to order and provide. In every change, He faithful will remain. Be still, my soul, your best, your heavenly friend. Through thorny ways leads to a joyful end. Be still, my soul, your God will undertake to guide the future as He has the past. Your confidence, let nothing shake. All now mysterious shall be bright at last. Be still, my soul, the waves and winds still know His voice who ruled Him while He dwelt below.
As the time ticked on, he got weaker and weaker, and he just was wasting away before our eyes. It was only a matter of time, it seemed. I was desperate to get him to eat. I put out a smorgasbord of different options and smells just to try to get him to lick just even the tiniest bits. But sadly, for days, all he would do would be drink water with his very, very white, bone-dry little tongue. And no matter what food I offered, he would just turn his head. When we went back on Friday, they did one more blood draw to compare it to the last one, and they had to use the tiniest of needles so he didn't bleed out from the poked hole. And so when the vet came back into the room, he shook his head, and I knew it was not going to be good news. He said he didn't even think he would make it through the weekend, especially after we told him we were not able to get him to eat and that we didn't give him the medications they sent us home with. He said it just didn't look good, and he said there were many problems and potentially could even have something like bone marrow cancer. And he suggested that we would consider even coming back later that day to put him down. I couldn't bear that thought. This was all such a shock. It had only been 5 days, and he had rapidly declined, and I was beside myself. And we scooped him up and went down the street a bit to a natural vet who did homeopathic kind of treatments. And he looked him over and said, no more shots, no more blood tests. And he was going to give us the weekend to just try to see if it was possible. He wasn't ready to put him down, and we weren't either. So he said he wouldn't be back in the office until Tuesday. And it was going to look like a miracle if he would make it that long, but I wasn't ready to let him go. So we went home and spent the remaining days with him as lovingly and consciously as we could. And we were all hoping and praying for a miracle. The only medicine we gave him were some homeopathic tablets, and that was it. And all he had was water for all those days.
Be still, my soul, when dearest friends depart, and all is darkened in the veil of tears. Then shall you bed and know His love, His heart, who comes to soothe your sorrow and your fear. Be still, my soul, the hour is hastening on, when we shall be forever with the Lord. When disappointment love's purest joys restore. Be still, my soul, when change and tears are past. All safe and blessed, we shall meet at last.
Hey, buddy. You coming to say hi to Kitty? Come here, Harry. Kitty perked up for the visit from Harry. Even near the end, in his weakest moments, he lifted his chin so I could scratch him there one more time. Still giving, still trusting, still my beautiful, loving boy. This was last Friday, only 5 days after we had first taken him in to find out what was wrong. And this is when we went to see the naturopathic doctor. And we were given from Friday to Tuesday to see what would happen. So we went home and prayed for a miracle, and at the very least, we prayed he would make it till Tuesday. We were warned not to let it get too far, or he could drown in his own fluids and suffer greatly. I spent every minute I could by his side, on the floor, in the closet, wherever he wanted to be. I was with him. Oh, baby. Meanwhile, Jeff told me to come downstairs and see who was hanging around outside, coming to give love and support. He was rubbing up against my legs. It was very bittersweet. We had 4 incredibly precious days with him, from Friday to Tuesday, when we brought him back for a reassessment. Knowing he hadn't eaten anything for many, many days, we brought him in, and the doctor noticed he had edema, swelling in his leg, which meant it wouldn't be long before it would go all the way to his lungs, and then he would begin to panic and drown in his own fluids, and it was going to be really hard and stressful for him, and that is what we didn't want. So we knew on the spot that this was the moment, the day, the hour. We counted it a miracle that he actually made it to Tuesday, and that we got to have those precious days with him, and that we got to be with him, and that his end was very, very peaceful. The whole thing was super peaceful, and we were so grateful to be with this wonderful doctor and have him help us through such a hard decision. And we were grateful that our prayers were answered. It was clear, it was time. There was blood coming out of his nose, and it was clear he was probably bleeding internally, so it was clear it was time. And we were grateful that we knew doing this would mean he would not be suffering, and he would bypass the really, really hard part.
Be still, my soul, the Lord is on your side. Bear patiently the cross of grief or pain. Leave to your
Now, 2 days later, the silence is loud. The space he filled feels vast and hollow. And this grief is deeper than I've ever known for any animal before. But oh, how blessed I am to have loved and been loved by this kitty.